Hello everyone, this is CEW here, coming back with another episode, and today, it's something a little bit different. No death battle this time, that's going to be tomorrow's episode. But today, we have a unique competitor to death battle. A fan-made themed one called Triple F, and we're going to react to StarFire vs. Blaze. Now this is actually, I'm not going to lie, when I heard about this, I was hooked on right away. It's a cool concept, the connections are there, and the outcome is kind of pretty cool. Gonna be predictable. But before that, the best way I would have done this is to explain why this is late, so apologies for that. Basically, I was having a family day, Star Wars Day, and Renaissance. That's all you need to know as why this is late, as there was a live stream for it. But we're not going to hear about that. We're going to talk about the interesting guy who made it, Firery Joker, also known as Josh Scotch. I can't say it. Scott. Blah. Well, you see the name, but thankfully he knows at Firery Joker. So this guy is basically the mastermind behind it, because a few months ago, I can't believe it's been a couple 7 months, but basically he did a Kickstarter, basically wanting to fundraise his own project of Blaze for the StarFire, and the reception was very positive. So let me just move this because this is the fundraiser, and as you can see, it was fully fundraised, which congrats to him on a very successful thing. Basically, this was the outcome, as he basically just barely reached the second fight. So congrats on him for episode 2. And we're basically going to be reacting to his first episode. This is very different because he's basically known for his top 10s and epic gaming failures of the year, of his opinion. And recently he's been focused on musicals. So highly recommend to subscribe to him. Been a member for a few years now, probably since 2020, I think, or earlier, but his editing is good, and I do like his content. And as you can see, this is where it all started around 7 months ago. So September 20th. So this is about more than half a month ready, as it just released it later today. So, and here is the thumbnail, and very impressive. I am shocked. This is 47 minutes. So yeah, expect it. And as you can see, yes, Brandon Yates made the music, featuring Kaya Hako. I don't know. Sadly can't remember who she other one is, but it's a banger. We will not listen to it, as it will be spoilers. You can listen to it after. We'll hear it once the match. So without further ado, let's get into the video. I'm very excited about this. I'll share my thoughts at the end, but so far, it's gonna be a banger. I'll pause here and there, so that way, I can talk and all. Yeah? Nice intro.
Blaze the Cat, Princess of the Soul Empire, Protector of Dimensions, and Guardian of the Soul Emeralds.
StarFire, Princess of Tamaran, Liberator of Slaves, and Heart of the Teen Titans.
While most princesses bear the mantle of demure politicians, some passionate sorts like to take a more hands-on approach in defending their realms.
Like these two purple-friendly neighborhood... Wait, they're from another planet. The Fiery Heroines.
Now, there are some fair questions as to what we are taking as...
This is a big one. Factor of the winner.
We are considering the main comics, aka StarFire Prime, as our primary source.
Yep.
But if there are some things...
Alright. So, while I do think the thumbnail... You know what? Never mind. I'll say my opinion, critiques, nitpicks, and all. But so far, I totally agree. It should focus on the main counterpart. StarFire from the comics wouldn't be the same without the comics, and Blaze from the games wouldn't be the same without the games. So, and I do like how they literally started off old school Death Battle, where they basically explained their titles and all, and actually explained the connections and all. That's one thing I miss about the new Death Battle, from the new Death Battle episodes. They basically just quickly get on with it with the newer episodes. They don't explain, but as you can see, the rules here. So yeah, basically the same thing. Maxwell basically focusing on the maximum at their best, while also making sure it's fully focused on the character. So if you've seen Death Battle, basically that.
Mental material such as in Elseworlds, cartoons, or video games that don't flat out contradict the main series,
Yep.
we're including it.
As for
I actually played the Teen Titans game. It is good, but it is very junky now. But it is pretty good.
Blaze, as she's originally a video game character, will be taking her game appearances
Yep.
as our primary.
Archie
But
Summit?
as long as there aren't any contradictions, we're also including the side games, IDW comics,
Yep.
and some snippets from Bumblecast.
All right.
Supplements.
So, no, we are not using the Archie Blaze here. Long story short, it actually makes the fight less interesting. He's Josh and I'm Mara.
I do agree with that, sadly, because as people know, Archie Sonic's just apparently way too different. It's similar to Paper Mario and other series. It's a series of its own. I do agree with that.
We're here to analyze their powers, abilities, and stats to find out who would win a battle to the death.
Really?
Hey, it's legally distinct.
I like the background too. Let's basically a reference of the series and all, but it is pretty nice, especially the frames and all, focusing on the main fight itself. So let's start with Blaze.
An alien planet of humanoids, born with incredible strength and the inherent ability to absorb energy emitted from the sun and soar through the skies of their home. From this world, a savior, powerful and pure of heart, would arrive on our own planet, always holding back their immense strength for fear of hurting the innocent.
Yep.
Eventually, they would become a shining beacon of hope for the people of Earth. That's right. We're talking about
Princess Coriander of Tamaran. Cori,
Yep.
hey, that's our dog's name, was the second child of 3 siblings of Tamaran's royal family. Oh, middle
Blackfire.
child syndrome. In royalty, no less. That historically turns out really well.
And here it's just as messy. Her elder sister,
So yeah, basically short story. If you've seen JoJo Bizarre Adventure, well, DC Comics did it first. Basically that, and yeah, like Blackfire is like on that list of most like Black Air Force type of fame. She would be on the like Hall of Fame with Dio. But yeah, here's the background. Completely didn't realize she is taller than me. So yeah, founding member of the Titans. Design inspirations. Okay, Marilyn Monroe, Red Sonja, George Paris Life. Yeah, so this is actually pretty good. I like how it also focused on author or like design inspirations and all, what they came to be. So that's kind of cool.
Commander seemed ready to become queen. Before she could, a childhood illness crippled her and she lost her birthright. Commander did not take this well. She attempted and failed to kill Cori, resulting in her own banishment.
Did she learn her lesson? Well, no. Commander allied herself with the Citadel, a ruthless slaver empire that invaded most of their local star system. With her new allies, Space Scar here easily conquered Tamaran. But to ensure peace and the safety of his people, the king, you know, her father, sold off his own baby girl to the Citadel as a slave. Dude, not cool. Best dad judges you.
Well, in the king's feeble defense,
Yeah.
it's either that or have all his people be taken prisoner. Plus,
Dang.
he likely didn't know what they'd actually do to Cori, as she was tortured and especially abused by Commander and the Citadel for 6 years, until both sisters were kidnapped and experimented on by the sadistic scientist species known as the Scions.
They used both sisters as guinea pigs for their experiments, to see how much energy a Tamaranian can absorb before exploding into a pile of alien guts. This particular set of experiments went on for 10 Years. Suddenly
Dang.
feeling like hugging my babies right now. 1 minute.
In an ironic twist, the Citadel invaded to free Commander, and during the ensuing chaos, Coriander was granted strange
So
powers,
that's how
which
they
she
got it.
promptly used to free herself and flee to the stars. Soon she arrived on planet Earth, where she had a fateful encounter with the former sidekick of Batman, Robin. After that got sorted, she would find safety and camaraderie with other heroes like Raven, Beast Boy, and Cyborg. These weirdos and goofballs became her family away from home, and she decided to protect Earth under the alias Star.
People really underestimate the Teen Titan cartoon. I mean, sure, Starfire and Raven were iconic and all, but they really, really blew out the water when they came to the 2003 cartoon show. I'm very curious of how this would go down.
Fire. Ari, that's your cue.
I was getting baby huggies. Leave me alone.
You're lying.
The alias, Starfire. You know, that's just the English translation of her name, right? Though wouldn't it
Yeah.
have been funny if her superhero name was just the Spice Coriander? I mean, she is kind of spicy. Hehe.
Line.
Anyways, over time and with a few adventures under their utility belts, these young underdogs would become known as the Teen Titans. Starfire proved to be an incredible asset to the Titans thanks to her alien physiology. Tamaranians are descended from a feline race. Yeah, really, what are the odds? And they're super strong, super fast, super durable, and can fly through the air. And because of the Scion experiments, she can fire beams of solar energy.
These solar rays are her star bolts. The only good thing to come from those horrific experiments. They can burn as hot as a star and
Starbolts vary in color, which might indicate how much power Starfire is putting behind them. Green and yellow seem to be higher in intensity, where pink could be her holding back. So that's cool. I didn't realize you can change it.
and even affect intangible beings. Over time, she learned to expel from her body in dozens of creative ways, though she seems to favor the simple approaches of firing them through her eyes and from her hands.
She can shape them to use as energy shields,
Alright, so powers. Physicality, basically strong. Radiation is open. Flight, doesn't need to eat, drink. Okay, so like Superman. Basically, she's a battery. Hot body. I totally like that. Old school. Heat resistance and mental or telepath resistant. Okay, immune to vampirism. That's actually interesting. And hand-to-hand combat, so she knows fighting. Okay.
them to suck in
Didn't know that.
energy, or even focus all the energy she has into an omnidirectional supernova, which can instantly vaporize people arguably more powerful than she is. However, it's incredibly draining to use, so it's a bit of a desperation move. Starfire is hot, figuratively and very literally, as the flames that burst from her literal metal-melting body can survive in the vacuum of space and last from planet to planet.
Similar to Kryptonians, Tamaranians can absorb energy, specifically ultraviolet radiation, which is nice because our sun gives off plenty of that. Usually after just a few hours of sunbathing, she's in good shape for a few days. While Starfire can absorb other types of energy or radiation to fuel her own abilities, such as solar or electromagnetic, if it's too foreign to what she's used to, then it could exhaust her or put her into a coma.
That said, she adapts to it pretty quickly once she wakes up. She also has some other powers that seem kind of left field.
Alright, are stated to have telepathic immunity. Starfire has been infected. Yep. Darkseid's mind control and making it more. Not only that, but Raven, I think in the comics as well, was mentioned. She was mind controlled by Dark Raven when Trigon basically turned her evil and put her against the Teen Titans. So that is a good thing to point out. It really depends.
Like astral projection, mental resistance, or learning any language by lip contact. That must have made Robin feel so special when he found that out, huh?
Even without her powers, she's deft in both hand-to-hand combat and swordsmanship due to her Tamaranian and Okaran training, as well as sparring with members of the Justice League. She's beaten Wonder Girl a few times, and an already incredibly skilled swordsman couldn't track her. So he ended up losing his hands.
Ooh. After some time, Star proved herself to be a decent leader of the Titans, and why wouldn't she? She's clearly the glue that holds them together, as every time she leaves, no really,
Alright. Romance is a Tarmarian word with meaning a time with close friends drift apart and the friendship begins to guide, and childhood means plan. So yeah, that is kind of makes sense. She's basically the heart of the group. And again, that's probably one of the best OG episodes of like Teen Titans.
Single.
2003.
Fine. The Teen Titans fall apart. Rekmaz indeed.
Yeah, Starfire often comes across as a naive airhead, but pretty much all her faux pas are caused by simple culture shock. In fact, Star is deceptively clever and has quite a few tactical successes under her belt, even though she's clearly more comfortable deferring to more experienced people's plans rather than making up her own.
Sure, most initiative Corey takes usually boils down to hit it really hard, but when you're tanky enough to survive a blast from Sinar and powerful enough to blast through a ship built to survive supernovas, do you need to be strategic all that often?
She also crashed through a skeletal Trigon skull.
Ooh, Trigon
is easily capable of destroying a universe. She's fought at the level of other DC heavy hitters like Firestorm, several Lantern Corps members, Manhunters, and even held her own against Wonder Woman.
Yeah. The same Wonder Woman that helped pull Earth back into orbit. The same Wonder Woman who regularly outfoxes the tactical genius and God of War Ares, and the same Wonder Woman who deflected every piece of the Shattered God flying across the DC universe.
At minimum, the DC universe is 100 trillion light years across. But more recent calculations put that number at 56.77 non-nillion. At the low end, that puts Wonder Woman's speed at 56 quintillion times faster than light. At the high end, well, that puts her at, give or take, 1.5 undecillion times.
So yeah, immeasurable speed. So yeah, that's actually cool. They're doing death battle math now. That's a no-brainer that she would be high tier. Basically, I figured she would be high tier and all because of fighting Starro and all, but did not know about the one more. But yeah, this is definitely a game changer. I'll get my thoughts later.
So yes, Starfire briefly held her own against that Wonder Woman. Twice. Okay, yes, Diana wasn't going all out in their scuffle, so Star's probably not that fast. Especially considering it consistently takes her some time to fly back 26 light years to Tamaran's cosmic neighborhood. But hey, Star can still tag people.
Yeah, even though she's not fast, she still has the reaction time. See? During Jesse Quick's attosecond feat, she was boosted by time treadmill, making it non-steady for base speed, which is only constantly around half the speed of light and only speed. So, yeah, as her upper limit. So she does have limits, but it's, I mean, she fought Wonder Woman and all. Like, it's without a doubt, whether you limit her, like, she's proven to be the best of the best, especially with helping Raven, of all people, who's considered the strongest of the team.
People like Jesse Quick. Sure, she's a lower tier speedster, but she's a lower tier DC speedster.
Yep, in another Flash member. So either way, immeasurable.
Dex matters.
Starfire can survive the equivalent
Alright,
of a...
here's the big one. Destroy Brainiac ship. Oh, that's another big one. Crash through Trigon skull. That's another... Yeah, briefly held off Wonder Woman, Dark Raven, Superboy, General Zod, and Moogle. That's I would say. Matches Diana Troy, basically Wonder Woman sidekick, I believe. Tanked a cosmic storm in a galactic-sized black hole. Survived blasts from universe busters like Suron, Oran, and Mentor. I'm surprised they didn't mention Starro, because in the comics she helped Blackfire defend Starro from invading her home. Well, their home. Alright, and eventually created... So, yeah, big feats.
Chernobyl meltdown in her face.
So she has the power and speed.
A cosmic storm that was moving the trillions of light years sized DC universe off balance and threatened to create an unprecedented warping in the space-time continuum.
Starfire got knocked around a bit, but she was mostly fine. You can see why it's no surprise that she's often referred to as the strongest Titan. I know Josh was joking at the start, but it really feels like she's the closest we've gotten to a true female Superman, in personality and in powers.
Make no mistake, Starfire's capable of godlike feats. Wow, that comic is really on the nose. But unfortunately, that power is often turned against her. Plus, Corey's caring heart causes her to both bullheadedly charge into danger and hold back her power, often making her a liability in a team fight. Clever foes can and do take advantage of this, and as a result, she's lost many of her battles. And that's not getting into some of her less appealing outcomes.
Yes. They mentioned the worst comic, one of the worst comics. But yeah, Starfire did not deserve that insult.
What in the anatomically borked Liefeld did they do to my baby?
Unfortunately, writing Corey has proven challenging, as she has many traits that are difficult to balance. Many writers have succeeded, but others often lean too heavily on one or the other.
Yep, Teen Titans, go.
Such as New 52, or...
Nope.
Yep.
Give me that. Not in this studio, Satan.
Hey, I actually had to watch it. You know how many episodes of that there are?
So many butts.
And thoughts.
Most importantly, StarFire...
So I like the weaknesses. Man, biggest jobber, allergic to metallic chromosome resulting in uncontrollable species, interstellar travel, severe fragile her. So basically stamina. For energy, okay, introvert to if low on energy, so it can be fatal. Burns through energy faster than a Kryptonian and limits. Okay, so energy is a big weakness.
Power has a lot of caveats. For one, while she can fly much faster than light, doing that leaves her so fatigued she'll pass out for days or even weeks.
Oh,
Second,
more powers invulnerable to her own attacks, and powers have a slow charge, depending. Emotions, okay, that's new. Called Fear Clown. Oh, so the Joker. So the Joker can immediately defeat. Okay, that's actually funny. Often holds back. Yep, temperature causes great mistake. Negative emotion hinders her. Despair. Okay, sucks at tennis. I mean, tennis is hard, to be fair.
a consistent source of ultraviolet light, she risks quickly burning through all her stored energy. And thirdly, her powers are connected to her emotional state. If she
Oh,
feels
that's actually...
driving emotions like
Hold on, I
joy,
gotta go back for that.
her pow-
Okay, that's actually cool. Like, motion, like, the editing is without a doubt probably the best part of the episode so far.
powers are connected to her emotional state.
Only
If
10
she feels
minutes?
driving emotions like
Okay,
joy
I gotta
or
be
righteous
fast.
fury, her powers often get stronger, even entering a berserker state of extreme strength and nigh invulnerability, allowing her to briefly surpass...
Okay. Okay, so she has a rage mode. States her power increasing from righteous fury. So in an alternate universe where because multiverse enforcer, she dies in a simple trainer's potion. Okay, weakens her power. So that's actually a good point. Basically, her emotions can affect. That's actually
Roy and
good.
Mon-El combined. If she were to feel stifling emotions like despair, fear, confusion, or even feel nothing, her powers greatly weaken.
But that's not really a huge deal, as it's only gotten that bad, like, never, I think. In fact, her cheerfulness is so indomitable that she achieved the power of a blue lantern, the lantern
Really?
core of hope. Remember, lantern rings can create light-based constructs from anything in the wielder's imagination. Heck, one time Jon Stewart created a whole solar system with his. Speaking of, whenever a blue lantern is around a green lantern, it unlocks literally the most power in the lantern core emotional spectrum.
Dang.
And yeah, StarFire had access to one of those. Until Hal Jordan confiscated the ring, that jerk.
What? Why?
That definitely would have been a main arsenal.
Young.
That doesn't sound right. Let me see that. Ari, this is a comic for kindergartners.
And it's canon, it's still StarFire, and
Yeah.
the other legally distinct show has taken from weirder sources.
Ari.
No,
Yeah.
you're giving me this. It makes perfect sense. Her own flesh and blood sold her into torture and has tried to kill her on multiple
Yeah.
occasions. Even her best friend tried to kill her on her wedding day, and she's still a bright ray of sunshine.
Well,
That's
that
cool.
doesn't necessarily mean that...
Corey has every reason to hate the world, heck, even to destroy it. And you're telling me she's not worthy of being a Blue Lantern when she can look at a heartless bigot who views her as less than nothing and would rather die
Yep.
than be saved by her and still say,
You may not value my life, but I still value yours.
Yeah, Hal did her dirty.
exactly.
Yeah.
Checkmate, bitch.
After taking back her home planet, joining the Justice League, and also raising a family of her own, StarFire would be recognized as a burning glory for those in need. When you see a woman in the sky,
Oh,
a hair
that
of burning
lighting
flame, no
effects.
evil will fall behind her might and her smile.
Okay, so far, editing was very good, and I like how they actually go in detail with both strengths and weaknesses, and like I said, the editing and the after effects, or graphic effects, like the arrow showing Starfire in the episode, swap bodies, that was pretty cool. Very good start.
Looking to add a little anime flair to your tabletop adventures? Check out the complete white
Alright.
handbook.
Add.
Fuck. explore
Apologies,
multiple
Joker, but
sequel. Multiverse theory posits that we are all living in just one variation.
nothing personal, just broke. But I hope for those who are interested of the fundraiser and all, I hope you enjoy your own time and all. It should be in the links below at the end of the episode.
Countless universes full of alternate versions of each and every one. In some, I could be a famous football player, or Aramau could like Teen Titans Go.
Yep.
Horrifying. But in the world of Sonic lies an alternate dimension of our favorite
That's
blue
actually
hedgehog,
cool.
the Soul Dimension. It's not that much different. I mean, it even has its own version of the Egghead. Biggest difference is that in this version, Sonic is a purple cat girl princess. Yeah, it's weird that there's two. If I had a nickel for...
This is Blaze, a descendant of a royal family who have protected their sacred treasure, the jeweled scepter, for generations. From birth, Blaze is gifted power over...
I really like the background where it's like comic book style. That really adds it style to this, and not only that, actually shows you put effort in the episode to make it different. Like, very good. Let's see, named Blaze 3-1. Wow, she's what? About 60 pounds, age 14. She is princess of the Soul Empire and guardian of the Soul Emerald. Not a hugger and really hates pirates. From an alternate dimension and a part of Silver's Path future. So, really good.
Fire, so she can eventually become the guardian of the jeweled scepter, as well as the Soul Emeralds, a dimensional counterpart to the Chaos Emeralds.
Too bad she just couldn't actually control her
Oh.
powers.
She endured a lot of teasing from her other children due to her gift. Oh yeah, official strategies guide. Okay, so I'm liking they're actually pulling books from strategy books. They don't do that anymore. There's like good ones.
Like, at all. And it kind of made any potential friends shun her, just because she didn't automatically know how to control flames that literally shoot out of her soul. Kids bully each other for the dumbest reasons. Like, can you do it? I don't think so.
Because of that, Blaze would come
True.
to see her powers only as
Sadly.
a curse. Coupled with the political duties of princesshood, rife with people lying to her every day, she grew up lonely, mistrustful, and bitter. But everything changed when Eggman came to her dimension and stole the Soul Emeralds. Thanks to her connection to said emeralds, Blaze was able to follow him. She knew what she had to do. Retrieve the emeralds she was sworn to protect and return home.
Unfortunately, a lifetime of isolation and independence made her butt heads with everyone who could possibly help her, like Knuckles, who she chumped and left buried under a pile of rocks. After learning what it truly means to have friends,
Yeah, like Sonic Rush is like very good, considered one of the best Sonic games in the DS, and like a good start to Blaze. Blaze origins difference between regions. Oh yeah, she's an American and America and Imperial Princess in Japan. There is a distinction. Blah. I can't say fancy words. In Europe, she is a future where everyone has powers, likely inspiring the Fleetway version of her. Oh, Fleetway comics? That's actually kind of cool. I didn't realize. I gotta read the Fleetway comics. Like, they're good.
from
But that is a good factor.
Twilight Sparkle, and the Blue Blur himself knocking a little sense into her, she learned that sometimes it's okay to trust others with the fate of the world.
After Rush, Blaze returned to her home dimension and would find herself encountering Sonic on many more occasions, fighting more villains, making new friends, and becoming a recurring member of the cast. She even became a part of Team Rose.
Nice.
Replacing the other purple cat. Good
Dang.
call.
Blaze is an Olympic level.
No, I like Big, and also Big is voiced by Duke Nukem. Like, I have not even played Duke Nukem, but like, his voice is just too iconic. Like, you can't replace him like that. But but in all seriousness, it's really cool that Blaze got more love than besides being a side character over the years. Let's see. Pyronesis, basically fire. She can control fire, spinning dash, and all. Fireball's flight, fire nullification and immunity, and sense can erase lesser beings of fire. That's actually going to be an interesting counterpoint. But let's see, physical prowess, Olympic athlete, acrobat. Yep, in Mario Sonic in the Olympic Bay, she's a speed type 1. Hand-to-hand combat expertise, super speed, limited toon force, hammer space, can survive being flattened. I'm guessing that's reference to the Mario Olympic Games, and I think Sonic Rivals, which the abilities are. It's been a while, so I don't know everything.
An acrobat with uncanny spatial awareness. Over time, she's learned to master her pyrokinetic abilities and use them in conjunction with her physical skills.
She's got all kinds of moves.
For a second there, I was going to skip that. Okay, rings, yes. Temporary invincibility, enhanced durability, amplified speed, up to 9, almost 1,000, loses 20 per hit, magnetic shield, item block, effect, confusing. So yeah, okay, big. I'm gonna save this stuff for later.
But most often, Blaze uses her flames and ballet-like acrobatics to spin like a fiery Tasmanian devil. She can propel herself with bursts, fly through the air, dash fast enough to create after images, shoot fireballs, and I think she teleported there. Jury's out on that one. Ian Flynn won't return my calls.
This deep connection with flames
That's reference to Archie comic. She did teleport.
not only allows her to erase lesser beings of fire,
I have that
but
one.
allowed her to seal within her the entity known as Iblis,
Ooh,
the raw
big
power
house.
of the multiversal threat Solaris. This demon burned the entire planet and left it.
Given that the former host at least didn't have pyrokinesis anyway, it's unlikely Blaze powers are augmented by Iblis. So that's an interesting factor.
State of ruin for 200 years.
Hang on, if she's just from another dimension, how did Blaze manage to be in Silver's apocalyptic far future? Or be a descendant of a well-known historical figure in Mobian history?
Well, several sources assert that Blaze actually originates from the future. But
Yep.
something happens.
Yep, the events of Sonic Friends aren't retcon and still take place. Yes, thankfully, I'm mixed feelings about the censorship on Shadow X Sonic's generations. I've been more... I think they were tedious, they shouldn't have been added, but I have to admit, the Shadow part, especially seeing Mephiles, I wish he was voiced by Yugi Moto again. That was the one downside that I wish he was voiced. But did respect to the new actor, but it was a cool moment. Everyone wanted Mephiles back and all, and I like how they basically confirmed, even without Sonic X Shadow Generations, like the Burning City in like the 2011, the original version, basically confirmed that the timeline that Sonic 06 is canon. Otherwise, why would they have put it in the first place? With Sonic, after Erasure, Sonic recalls, revenge, and tag team racing in Crisis City. Yes, Crisis City being in the original version of Sonic Generation is a main factor. And you fight Silver in Crisis City, so even without that, that basically confirms it.
After or during the events of Sonic 06. That something causes Blaze to be reincarnated as the Soul Dimension's princess 200 years before Silver's time.
Okay.
We just don't have confirmation of what that something is yet.
Sonic
and if
06.
Solaris
That's a
got
cool
erased
reference.
From time, is Iblis still in her soul or not? Oh, I do not envy the rider who has to untangle this timey-wimey Gordian knot.
Ugh. Anyways, like Sonic, Blaze has access to several different power-ups, such as shields, mind-affecting items like stun or confusion. She also has ring time, which can transform enemies into rings, and she can teleport to
That was Sonic Jump, so that's actually interesting.
Eggman's amusement park. She had access to 3 specific wisps.
Okay.
Cyan laser grants an enormous
From the DS
speed boost, rips
games,
through enemies like
I
paper.
believe.
The yellow drill can easily move underground,
And
making it
Sonic
great for
Dash,
surprise attacks,
I
and the
believe.
Indigo asteroid reduces everything into rubble within its vicinity.
But even
Basically, the mobile games are being added. The victor of Sonic and Blaze Fight and Sonic Light, the hands-on character's point of view, and canon it seemingly ends in a stalemate. Okay,
without power-ups, she's managed to keep up with Sonic, who
I agree with
now
this.
has some insane feats under his belt. Sonic can escape whole dimensions just by running.
No
Defeat
defension.
Villains like Infinite, who can create dimensions that go on infinitely in base form. But one
Dang.
of the biggest would come from Sonic's friends, as they reacted to Solaris' fusion, which
Yeah, that one's very confusing. Mostly, they were the only ones unaffected by, well, it's Sonic 06, but basically they were, including Eggman. Eggman was a big factor, but they weren't affected by the erasance system. Being erased.
The universe in 23 seconds. At minimum, that's 120 quadrillion times
Dang.
faster than light. And
Okay.
that's not even accounting for the fact that
Props for actually calculating that. Like, I don't know how you could.
Polaris exists in all time, past, present, and future.
And considering Blaze was able to catch Knuckles off guard and fought Sonic to a stalemate, Blaze
Yep.
can keep up with all of that.
Yes, Sonic and his friends continually get more powerful in time as foes like Perfect Chaos and Metal Overworld are now able to be defeated without super transformation. Yes, so long story short, Sonic Generations, basically they were box fights. Metal Overload was basically Super Metal Sonic with the 7 Chaos Emeralds, and Shadow defeated him for his boss fight, and Perfect Chaos Sonic Generations regular modern Sonic. This sudden jump in power is fair to include what for Blaze as well. Yes, because Blaze matched Sonic in power and speed.
Even before Sonic met Blaze, he'd fought Emerald, who absorbed enough chaos energy to power
Sonic
the final
Battle, I
Egg
believe.
Blaster. That sucker destroyed a whole constellation.
Considering the distance and gravitational binding of each star, that's worth at least 465 exapo, or 465 quintillion supernovae.
Yes, and remember, this is without this was before Sonic Generations and without super forms.
That kind of power can blow up galaxies or even shake the entire universe. But her greatest power lies within
Here's
the
her
gem
trump
she
card.
was destined to protect, the Soul Emeralds. These debatably set
Contain universes within them. Oh, I did not realize that. Wait, pre-innovative will, so she has force sense, unlimited power, desire, wishing. We're talking. Okay, I did not realize this, but we're talking about Archie level of powers: reality, dimension, time, entity sealing, life force manipulation, in theory, dream manipulation, and good fortune. Burning Blaze, basically her supersonic form. Strength and speed boost, flight, near invulnerability, regeneration, vulnerability, negation, accessibility.
Team jewels are often compared to the Chaos Emeralds and have similar capacities of unlocking unlimited power.
Basically, they're like Chaos Emeralds, but fiery, and shaped like actual cut emeralds, and tied more to order than chaos, and can warn about upcoming cataclysms. And if you don't know what you're doing with them, they explode.
Yep, while Archie Blaze isn't being used in the matchup, the Archie Comics panel down in the analysis illustrates canon uses of Blaze and his soul power. So basically what they're saying, Archie Sonic isn't being used. Even Archie Comic show they still have the same powers and rules based on their original source.
In your face. Okay, there's actually quite a few differences, but the overall power level is the same in the ways that actually matter. They also grant Blaze her most powerful transformation, Super Blaze!
Yep, IDW form.
It's Burning Blaze.
Does it matter? It does exactly what Supersonic does.
Burning Blaze is a cool name, I'll give that. While memory restoration was thought to be a power of Burning Blaze, memory restoration, this was refuted by Sega, as reported Elon. So basically, after this is probably a reference to the Metal Fires arc, where Eggman basically made a liquor form that turned them into metal zombies, and Sonic, with the help of their super forms with Silver, basically got rid of all the Metal Fires on the whole planet, exploded, and he lose memories for a bit. And Blaze was, in theory, helped Sonic regain his memories, basically, but that's good to confirm. Basically, Sonic found out on his form
Does their Sonic
by
and
himself.
increases their strength, speed, and durability to absurd amounts.
Burning Blaze shot a jet of flame that instantly vaporized a large ship of the Egg Fleet. Given the vapor point of basic steel, that fire would have to be at least 3,000 to 6,000 degrees Celsius with an explosive pressure of at least 100,000 psi.
Nice.
For context, that's a fire blast as hot as a red dwarf star delivered with the force of a nuke. And that's the
So hot
considering
as a
many
star,
ships in the fleet
dang.
can withstand multiple attacks from the multi-solar system power of base Sonic. So this flame was likely hotter than a blue sun with a Zetaphone of power behind
Dang.
it. She can also smash through meteors.
Isn't Blue Sun considered the hottest sun on Earth? I can't remember, but that is in factor.
Moving at Josh, how fast is she going here?
Well, considering this is happening in a wildly fluctuating dimensional rift where neither time nor space functions properly,
Dang.
as Burning Blaze, her speed is technically immeasurable.
True.
Of course it is. While in the Exception Rift,
That's funny.
Supersonic and Burning Blaze fought the Egg Salamander, which had already drained the Chaos and Soul Emerald's energies to power it.
Yeah.
The two Eggmans planned to use their powers to collapse and merge Sonic's and Blaze dimension.
This is what basically the ending of Sonic Rush Adventure. Basically the sequel to Sonic Rush.
To form a dream Eggman land that transcends dimensions. Given how smart the guys are, I believe, especially
banana
since those
meme.
two did the impossible and managed to unleash an attack that actually bypassed Superform invincibility.
Ooh.
And that's not even the craziest part. Before this, Blaze had given up all hope of victory since the Soul Emeralds had been drained of their power. Sonic, who's definitely had this sort of thing happen before, then makes her realize that the Soul Emerald's power comes from special bonds, thus completely recharging the Soul.
Oh, that's probably going to be a big factor. Quickly recharging its Soul Emerald has been a constant ability since Sonic 2. Really? That old? The Soul Emerald should be compared with Azure, as Knuckles since mistook their energy for the Chaos Emerald. Okay, so that... I didn't realize that recharging ability since Sonic 2. I'm guessing it was from the special zones. So, interesting.
Emeralds.
Wait. Are you saying that the power of friendship restored the
Kingdom
multiversal
Hearts.
strength of the Soul Emeralds?
For those who don't know, Firery Joker is a huge nerd, or a geek nerd when it comes to Kingdom Hearts. Mad respect. My cousin also loves Kingdom Hearts. So, yeah. I love it too, but not as much as him.
Those ponies really are onto something. Seriously, when did this turn into MLP? And it tracks,
Yeah.
as Sonic, Shadow, and Silver Superforms
Mostly.
were able to fight against Solaris, a superdimensional life form that would consume all existing timelines of all dimensions.
Sonic's Superform could also fight the Time Eater, which nearly erased all of time and space of their franchise.
Tails Tube. So, Tails Tube is basically a Twitter... It's like a short series, basically, on YouTube. If you've seen the Twitter reacts and all, or especially on Twitter, so I don't know if they have a channel on Sega, but basically, Tails goes and does interviews and like summaries, and does special guests to basically summarize events that happen. One of them in episode 4 with Amy Rose explained about Sonic Generations. As you can see, Dr. Eggman's Yanja used an ancient being called Time Eater to mess with time and space. Time is just one dimension within space, the endless possibilities. There could be basically infinite.
Is cosmology, and even then,
Man, basically, in a way, they basically confirmed that Archie Sonic and Fleetway Sonic are canon, if you think about it. Heck, even the horror Sonic.exe, but, I mean, they did reference it and all, and it is possible. It would be cool if that were like a cool boss fight, I'll admit.
all that chaos.
Alright, currently the canon of Sonic Frontiers is debatable or questionable. However, since the end, result is the same in two story rounds. Basically, one where Sage sacrifices himself, another one Sonic save his teams, his pals, and they help in defeating the game. Both sides are canon. Okay, I like this.
Defeating the End, which referred to itself as infinite compared to Sonic's past adversaries, as well as calling Supersonic.
Okay, Supersonic, something that transcends law and... Okay, so basically a god. Stalemated Sonic the Hedgehog, KO Knuckles, yep, destroyed most of the Egg Fleet in the IDW comics, defeated Egg Salamander, Egg Wizard, captured Captain Whisker with Sonic help, defeated Iblis several times, and sealed him within her soul. That's literally the main story of Silver, of her helping Silver. I can't even say Silver name, dang it. But, yeah, and then completely eradicated piracy in the Soul Dimension and codification. This is funny.
something that transcends law and time. And considering Blaze fought Sonic on even ground, and the Soul Emeralds are comparable to the Chaos Emeralds, she has access to all that power.
Well, most of it anyway. The Soul Emeralds
Yep.
don't seem to have their versions of common Chaos abilities, or if they do, Blaze hasn't used them yet. That's kind of weird. We've seen Chaos
Yeah.
control with the Chaos Emeralds and
True,
Chronos control
that's a
using
point.
a Time Stone. Shouldn't there be like a...
That's again Archie comic. If you've seen Archie Silver versus Trunks, you should. Xeno Trunks, you definitely need to. One of the best episodes from season 9, I think.
soul control?
If not the
Theoretically,
best
yes,
episode.
But either Blaze doesn't know that the technique exists, or it doesn't exist at all because it hasn't been shown yet.
Really? That sort of idea just writes itself. You'd
That's a
think they'd
fair
jump on that.
argument.
Agreed, but as it stands, the Soul Dimension is a place we unfortunately don't know that much about, and the stuff we do know is pretty limited. For instance, the Jeweled Scepter that Blaze guards apparently contains more power than the Chaos and Soul
Yep.
Emeralds, but we've seen so little of it we don't know what it's fully capable of. We do know a bit about Blaze though, both her strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah, Blaze
Yeah.
is more...
So yeah, I do think that the Jewel Scepter need to be eliminated, as there's not much. While it is explained more in the Archie comics, which Ian Flynn did confirm that the Jewel Scepter was the reason why when the Mega Man crossover got happened and basically both universes got rewritten, they got safe and all, but like I said, not enough information about the main thing, and focusing on Game Blaze.
emotionally stable and works better with a team nowadays, but she can fall back
It's
into
not-
old habits when...
Alright, and it's not her main resilient jabber, so I'm basically thinking that's a joke. Can't cook, dislike hot food. That's funny. Acrophobic. That's funny as well. Blurry Face has a time limit. Needs others to talk to her, making unwise. She's hot-headed. So yeah, I do agree.
no one's around to offer a second opinion. Still
Dang.
a far cry from
Halfway
how she used to
through,
act, or in the
and I'm
Archie
still-
comics. Like, jeez, Prince...
Man, this is halfway through, and I'm making this longer than Blaze. So let's just
spitting
get on with
morning
it.
tea.
Also, like the other super forms in the series, the god-slaying, dimension-shattering, burning blaze transformation does have a time limit and isn't truly invincible. Hit her really, really hard and you can stun
Yep.
her or knock her back. Though one of her biggest weaknesses is a rather odd one. She has a fear of heights.
Wait, seriously? But she's fighting in space. That's like a bajillion feet in the air. How could you
That's
be
funny.
afraid after that?
Well, it likely took a lot of mental discipline to overcome, because as long as she focuses on ignoring how high she is, her acrophobia isn't triggered.
So wait, she runs on a souped-up version of Don't Look Down?
Yeah, pretty much.
Ah, so it's like Sonic and his hatred of water. I know she's supposed to be the alternate universe Sonic, but the only
That's funny.
things she seems to have in common with him are that they're both brave, confident, speedy heroes. They're so different, yet weirdly similar.
Well, it's more than just that. Everything about Blaze and Sonic make them perfect foils. The Soul and Chaos Emeralds that they're respectively
Counterparts.
connected to are described like North and South poles, seemingly opposed yet essential to each other's existence. Blaze, embodying the flame, is complemented by Sonic, the embodiment of wind, whose oxygen
Okay.
fuels the fire.
So yeah, this is actually good. Basically, Sonic's yin and yang, more or less. That's actually, I gotta admit, this is actually a good analysis. They actually go in depth of the meaning of the characters and all. So good on them. I like this part.
Blaze is a disciplined, solemn royal with a serious attitude, contrasting Sonic, a spontaneous, free-spirited, and fun-loving vagrant. Even their combat styles and transformations, Blaze's balletic grace versus Sonic's breakdance-like fluidity, Burning Blaze's red and yellow versus Supersonic's yellow and red. They're opposites, but not in opposition. Like yin and yang, it's a perfect parallel harmony.
Anti-Blaze would be kind of likewise very reckless and
Okay.
bold and in your face.
So almost like Sonic, but cranked up to 11.
Okay,
Wow,
that's
they
actually
really put
good.
a lot of thought into this. Blaze tries to give off that air of the stoic, duty-bound royal, but deep down, she's just a burned soul who wants to give this whole friendship thing a genuine shot. As long as she lives, Blaze will protect the emeralds, her dimension,
Yeah.
and her new friends.
That's
at
a good
any cost,
comparison.
even her own life.
Yeah, that's good. I do wish, though, they would end with their quotes, just like how StarFire did. You know, because, again, OG Death Battle, they were in on each other's quotes and all. I think they could pull it off.
Need a gaming PC that's powerful.
Alright, I'm gonna skip, like I said, it will do, and I'll give my thoughts.
Redneck Engineer, build your
Alright,
ultimate
yep.
gaming experience.
There's a sponsor. Now, oh, hold on.
There's more.
And while you're gaming and it starts to
More commercial. I'll just go.
delicious drink. It's
Good on Firery Joker getting sponsors. That's actually hard. Now, before we go any further, I'd like to give my thoughts. At the start of this matchup, I was being biased and going with Team Blaze. And I'll explain quickly. I will not be upset if StarFire wins based on her powers and matching and resisting. But based on the analysis, this fight can go either way. But I highly expect Blaze to win for factors. While Starfire, without a doubt, can most likely absorb, it could be debatable of absorbing her energy and has longer stamina and all. Blaze has basically, in my opinion, has counters to it. Not only can she match in raw power and all, but just her abilities of controlling fire and all, she could most likely use her beams against her powers against her. And not only that, having near invincibility, and especially the items, what we saw with the rings, invincibility and all, that's going to be about Burning Blaze. Her trump card will probably be enough to overpower her. And especially, I originally thought that even before that, I literally thought Starfire could outlast Burning Blaze, most likely win. But apparently, as they show, them recharging it does not matter, as she can like reuse them again and all. That's actually good. So in my opinion, and again, it doesn't gonna matter because, as explained, Sonic is actually crossover with Justice League. There's 2 comics so far of it, but they match in power and all, which is pointless. It's basically gonna come down to their abilities, their endurance, which I think, and training doesn't matter. Like the hand-to-hand combat doesn't matter since they fought a lot of foes. So it comes down to basically, in my opinion, how they counter each other, which I think Blaze having her fire powers and having more items and all can last longer. Their stamina, which I think Blaze can, I think Starfire will have the edge on, but reusing their abilities will probably keep Blaze lasting a little bit longer. And basically, I forgot the third one, but basically, it will probably come down how they can, their hexes. So, again, going down to their powers. Their main powers overall, how they will the other. What I'm saying. Maybe durability and all, but like I said, let's just get to the fight. I think that's why I think Blaze will win. Basically, her super form and basically her fire abilities will be enough. Even if you just exclude her power-ups and all to recharge, her super form and invincibility and all, near invincibility would be enough.
That's it for the evidence. Before we get started, what do the fans think about this matchup?
Well, according to their votes, it appears the people believe Starfire is going to
That's nice.
win this.
Oh, wow. Well, let's see what the fighters have to say about it.
It's time for us.
I like how they made.
To the death. I'm working on it.
That's good. That's good. I mean, you have triple F. It's time. I think a cool one would be Glory for Triple F, or I don't know, some maybe do like a Austin 316, something like that. But I'm pretty, like I said, this is the first episode, they admit it, and like I said, the rest should be the fight itself, so I cannot wait. Sonic 2 Adventure. So we're just gonna play this. The music should come out though, Crown of Fires by Brenda Yates. And shout out to the animators and voice actors. I bet they did a great job with this.
I'm having none of the luck finding the jewel thief.
Just keep looking, StarFire. They couldn't have got him far. Try retracing your steps. Nightwing out.
Finally, now I can leave this strange dimension.
I have found you, thief of the red jewel. Return what you have stolen, or...
That's cool.
We are going to be the greatest of friends. We shall celebrate Blowfog together, and I will...
StarFire this actually looks good.
Don't you dare touch me again.
Dang.
Okay. We don't have to be friends. But you must hand over that jewel.
Yeah.
I am the guardian of these emeralds, and I will not let you take them.
Oh, even a fight intro. That's actually good. This is actually good so far. I'm actually excited. Drill. That's actually cool. Reference. That kick. Ooh, laser.
Too high! Too high!
That's funny.
I am sorry to disappoint you, but I am stronger than I look.
Yep. Here comes the burning.
So, you like to play with fire?
Oh.
Let's play!
Okay, that's actually a cool line. Oh, the intro. Okay, that's actually cool.
You can't escape me!
I won't.
Don't give up, Star!
You got this, girl! You can do this, Star!
Don't you dare to give up, Starfire.
Oh, that's actually cool.
StarFire? StarFire, can you hear me?
Corey!
In fearful day, in raging night.
Oh, she got the blue. Oh, so they should get it. That's gonna be a game changer. Still 50-50. My heart is racing because of this.
We could have been friends, but you chose this.
Giving up already? Come on, Blaze. I thought you were stronger than that.
Dang. Okay, this is actually fire. Fun intended.
impossible. Wait, that energy. Maybe I can.
How? Stopping that!
Ah, yes! I can absorb it. I can. Ah! What's going on? No! Ah!
Did she just die?
How could she have absorbed the Soul Emerald's power? It's impossible unless... she's like me. Which means... I can stop this!
Yep.
Hope. I have hope there is another time and place
Dang.
where we are friends.
Okay, like, this was a...
Strangely...
Okay, I gotta pause. Like, for not being a death battle episode, this is probably one of the best ones. Like, especially the animation. This made my hunt play. So let's get to why she won.
I hope so too.
That is actually shocking.
And this is why you shouldn't try to hug cats. But wow, that fight was nuts. Are both of them actually capable of all that?
Well, yes. While Blaze had more advantages in the fight overall,
Yep.
these two were equal in a surprising amount of ways.
Their skills and power sets bounce so well
Yep.
off each other that this was honestly pretty tricky to figure out. So let's go through the relevant categories.
Oh, even the death battle.
Fair in the speed department.
Both combatants hail from universes known for their insane speed feats, but StarFire consistently struggles to keep up with higher tier DC fighters.
That's
Even
true.
when they highball her interstellar travel feats, she can't keep up with Blaze's teleportation, outspeeding Knuckles, or
That's
moving
true.
in spaces unbound by time. In fact, Starfire's
Ugh.
best showing of speed comes from Teen Titans Go.
Dang.
We're not kidding. Apparently this Starfire...
Alright, considering Prime, StarFire, and Teen Titans don't have anything often showing measurable speed, it's clearly an outlier. Even besides direct feet. I actually thought they would high scale her to Wonder Woman with the measurable, but it does make sense. They didn't add it because in the comics it's clear she's not the fastest. Okay.
Did jumping jack so fast that she nearly disrupted the space.
That's true.
Continuum. However, she wasn't fully in control and was able to hear Robin telling her to stop, which means she wasn't fully out of sync with the normal flow of time. The fairest interpretation is that she approached
Okay, that's actually at least fair.
measurable speed but didn't quite reach it.
Even if she did, Blaze has multiple feats of directly achieving
Yes.
measurable speed on her own and scaling to it via Sonic. Even
Okay, I do agree with that. Basically, StarFire, even in her fights, don't officially can't scale to because they're not fair. While Blaze has more accurate feats of keeping up with them. She basically doesn't have official feats like keeping up with the Flash and all, unlike Superman does.
with the small boost from
Blaze did defeat Knuckles, who was experienced in combat, but the fight happened so fast it's unclear if it's due to his superior specs, her ability, to match.
Lantern
That
Ray,
does.
Starfire can't reliably compete with Burning Blaze.
That's true.
Sure,
Okay.
Starfire's managed to hit one or two DC characters who could supposedly achieve
Yeah.
measurable speed, but they clearly weren't going their fastest during
Yes.
these incidents. Admitted.
Yes, basically she caught them off guard, not like a Superman who basically proven he can keep up with. Like, it wasn't they weren't at their best.
Admittedly, comparing any two fighters in measurable speed feats does get into weird and cerebral territory. While our combatants are in the same ballpark,
That's a fair
Blaze
argument.
just has more consistently high showings, and she doesn't need a multi-week nap after going that fast. Point for Blaze.
Both Blaze and Starfire have surprising similarities when it comes to battle instincts and strategic
Yep.
thinking. They often defer to their teammates for plans, but both have shown they can cleverly think around a problem when needed. Both also have tempers that can create openings for their opponents. But that's where the similarities end.
Alright, so both Blaze and Starfire are perceptive enough to notice personal flaws in others, but neither are ruthless enough to exploit them. Yep, they opt to overpower than target. Alright, that's good. Yes, I agree with this.
Steps to mitigate her acrophobia. If she's caught off guard, her concentration can waver and cause her to get blindsided more easily. Also, Blaze's techniques and fighting style are extremely telegraphed and showy, making them quite predictable compared to Starfire.
That's true.
While Blaze has trained for years to be the Soul Emerald's guardian, that was mostly done on her own. Corey has formal combat training with the Okarans.
Yes.
On top of years.
I do agree with this. Starfire basically had more evidence of training throughout her life, while Blaze, while it's skillful, is predictable, and her experience is questioned. I do agree with this advantage over Star.
Related to battle. Point for Starfire.
Experience isn't as cut and dry as you might think. Starfire has many more examples of fighting.
Yes, I agree with this.
Multiversal level enemies, whereas with Blaze you can count those types of foes on one hand. That we've seen anyway. However,
basically more comics over games.
When it comes to comparing their win-loss records, Corey comes up a bit short.
Really?
Hold on, there's nuance to this. Yes, Starfire loses all the time, and that's really annoying from a narrative standpoint.
That's
and
true.
From a fan standpoint. But look at the people she loses to.
Yep.
People like Orion, Mongol, and Wonder Woman. She got her teeth kicked in, sure, but the fact that she fought them and didn't die should not be discounted.
Yes.
Yeah, to say that Blaze is more
I do agree with this.
based on that would just be disingenuous. Plus, Corey has fought plenty of foes like Blaze. Vice versa, not so much, but she still faced a pretty significant number of foes. Tough call, but Starfire gets a slight...
I do think that's fair. In terms of experience, like, she deals with the powerhouse. Even if you do take it out, I do think that Starfire is still win experience. Just more evidence of over years of comics, and not only that, dealing with like more of the best powerhouse of DC in both speed, power, and abilities.
edge here.
In fact, Starfire had a lot of natural counters to Blaze's extra arsenal. Her powerful mental resistance could resist confusion and stun items.
Oh,
even
yes.
The Indigo Wisp could easily nullify her starbolts. Corey's insane durability would allow her to resist being turned into mulch.
Yeah.
Well, the Blue Lantern Ring could potentially...
Yeah, I gotta admit, adding the Blue Lantern Ring was not in my thing of the fight, but I'm glad it added. It was cool. Was at full power, Starfire could not nullify Blaze pyrokinesis since Blaze fire is tied to a soul. Yes, not an emotional state. That's actually a good catch. I did not think about her soul if Starfire could use her powers against a soul thing like Raven. Plus, since Chaos Emeralds could nullify Solaris regeneration, yes, in Sonic 06, it can be assumed the equivalent soul can nullify. That's actually a good factor because basically in Sonic 06, that's like the final boss. They were power enough to like take out Solaris. So that is a good factor. They can counter the Lantern Lings.
Heal Starfire or supercharge her regular powers with a surge of...
That's a good one.
Hope. A Blue Lantern's usual augmentations are severely hampered in a mono-e-mono fight like this because it requires a Green Lantern ring in close proximity to reach its full potential. Without that, the most it's able to provide is a small power boost.
They even showing the CGI Green Lantern. That's actually some good context. Great job on that.
Energy constructs.
And while Starfire's no slouch with strategy or creativity, we don't know how effective she'd actually be using those constructs without a lot of speculation.
Yes.
Thanks, Hal.
I do agree with that. Not only that, she didn't even have time to learn the full powers of the Green Lantern Lings. Meanwhile, Blaze has mastered... She basically didn't master, like, all her... She may have... didn't master her, like, trump card, while Blaze has mastered Burning Blaze. That's a good factor.
Ultimately, the Soul Emeralds gave Blaze an edge that Starfire didn't really have an answer to, except for one, her absorption ability.
Starfire has managed to absorb several unusual kinds of energy, but it has its limitations.
Yes. And she couldn't... yeah, I do agree with that. Starfire absorbed solar energy from weaker Superman, and the process cost more time than Blaze will allow. Additionally, given how she'd been defeated by Superman, there's likely... Okay, so there's basically a limit to absorption. And yes, I do agree with this.
She can't absorb her own.
That would have been a big factor, though.
That it's literally coming off her hair. Starfire has actually never been shown to absorb fire.
Oh, that's a small detail. Yes. And even with that, I think her not able to control burning the super forms will probably be a big factor.
Yes, fire can sometimes emit ultraviolet light, but that very much depends on the fuel source. And considering that Blaze's flames are red and they shoot out of her soul, it's unlikely Starfire would be able to absorb
If Starfire could absorb Blaze fire, Blaze would be yes. Not only that, I think she has immunity to fire.
Ultraviolet energy from them, or the energy of the
that is a good factor. She couldn't use her abilities against her.
Starfire can absorb the Soul Emerald's energy.
So basically, Starfire could not use counter her Blaze's trump card against herself, while Blaze can do the opposite. That's actually good. So like Superman, Charlie can only store much energy before exploding. So basically, like a container, she has a limit.
There was way too much that could go wrong from that. Star could fall unconscious from the foreignness of the energy, or explode from the sheer amount of multiversal power, or the Soul Emeralds refusing to play nice. Blaze, on the other hand, could just quickly dip into another dimension for a safe recharge. Or, since Starfire and Blaze are so similar, given that Blaze was able to dip...
Oh, so I didn't see this, but if Starfire could absorb... Yes, so Blaze could teleport and recharge her own powers. So... yeah, this is a well-researched thing. I'm actually shocked that Sonic actually defeated a DC powerhouse. So that is shocking. Blaze can dimension hop and basically recharge the emeralds to Super Blaze, especially emotion. Or better yet, she can use Starfire's emotions to help her recharge Blaze's emeralds. That's actually a cool factor.
Or, since Starfire and Blaze are so similar, given that Blaze was able to seal Iblis within her based on merely...
Yes, that's a fact.
It's almost 100% likely that Blaze would just seal Starfire away within her own soul.
Oh, that's another... yeah, that's actually another good point. Killing move. She has sealing. Yeah, like I said, I did not think about this at all, even though I love Sonic 06 as a sin, but... like I said, great analysis.
And anticlimactically, ending the fight.
Oh, it actually gets worse for Starfire. While she has strong resistance to mental
manipulation,
Starfire has consistently shown no resistances to spiritual or physical manipulation.
That's true.
Transmutation.
T-Titans, OG.
Use ring time to turn Starfire into a ring. Yeah,
really?
I know, it's underwhelming, but ring time to turn Starfire...
so basically, Blaze... not only could Starfire not even counter most of Blaze's abilities, especially Trump card, but Blaze also has many ways to end the fight at any time. I didn't even think she could turn Starfire into rings. Like, man.
Fire into a ring. Yeah, I know. It's underwhelming, but Blaze has far too many achievable ways to debilitate Starfire or instantly end the fight. Several of which she doesn't need to be in Burning Blaze form to accomplish.
Yeah.
But hold on again. There's nuance to this one, too.
Yep.
Blaze has these abilities.
Yes, the counter. So Blaze can erase beings of fire, but since she couldn't erase Iblis, there is a limit. Someone a powerful fire, though it might at least weaken her given the fire naturally spawns from her hair. That's true.
Preferred options. She usually relies on brute force.
Yes.
Strategic thinking as a backup.
So power will be a big factor.
Realize that she needs her more obscure powers to pull out the win, which could favor Starfire.
That's true.
Starfire shares a similar approach.
Yes.
Additionally, Blaze has shown increasing willingness to adapt and use her other abilities to buy time when needed. Blaze takes a strong edge in abilities.
Yes, I basically agree with that.
But assuming Blaze doesn't get any chance...
I'm actually shocked about power. Like, how could... Well, I'm not. Even so, it would be evenly matched, in a sense. So I want to hear their expected. I actually thought StarFire would win this one.
Actually overpower StarFire.
Well, let's take a look at both our combatants' most cited stalemates. While Sonic and Blaze can be comfortably put on the same level,
Yep.
Corey and Diana can't. Not only was
True,
Corey
true.
with Wonder Girl's help, Diana was holding back and was about to cut loose before they were interrupted. Against a serious Wonder Woman?
Yep.
StarFire's gonna lose. Hard.
That's true.
Which is so not fair.
StarFire's incredible strength.
StarFire possess indie Wonder Woman support this. So basically, comics show this is supported in the comics. StarFire landed with Super Punch, but barely affected in the scales to Wonder Woman. It's unlikely she scales to the power of the God Waves determined. Okay, so basically, what they're saying is that while StarFire can go up against them, against foes like Wonder Woman, she can't fully be powerful, like scale to her, because like she just could not survive against. That actually makes sense.
Strength and durability varies greatly due to a multitude of factors.
Okay.
So her stats are
Debatable. Yeah, debatable.
The time StarFire held her own against other high-powered characters in the DC universe, such as Sinestro, Firestorm, or hell, even Superman,
Yep.
this is often due to unusual circumstances, such as her opponents holding back immensely.
That's true.
Or if they were weakened, subdued, or distracted by other fighters. Whether on her own or on a team, she's lost a fair few times against weaker characters in her universe.
That's true.
But to be fair, that's usually because StarFire holds back too, and because 50 years of writers are always on the same page.
Yep.
Sure, StarFire's scaling is different since...
So, yeah. And even if StarFire is powerful and scales to the DC, I mean, the Sonic and DC crossover is canon, and not only that, Sonic and Shadow especially has like defeated Steppenwolf and can survive blows against Darkseid probably much better than StarFire has, sadly. And this is without going super forms, mention you.
Most of her feats involve losing.
Her powers isn't guaranteed to surpass. Yes, I do agree. The invincibility and like her like scaling Solaris was just enough.
Likely put her at multiversal. In fact, a relatively safe scaling chain through Connor
Yep.
Kent, a weakened Superboy Prime, and a weakened Anti-Monitor puts her near infinite multiverse. Close, though not quite. Can Blaze actually top that?
Turns out, she can.
Really?
You see much of Burning Blaze, it is shown to be directly comparable to Supersonic, which is on
Yep.
a ridiculous level of
It's
power.
proven.
Emerald Superforms have defeated super-dimensional gods, which could erase...
Hold on. Okay, quick edit. Don't you love dogs? My dog was barking and all, so I want to take care of that. But like I said, let's quit. But I do agree with this. Power makes sense. StarFire doesn't have official confirmed victories over like the main tiers of DC, like Wonder Woman and Superman, and even they did, Burning Blaze has proven her scaling is canon to Supersonic and helping and fought like gods that scale outside their time and space. So yes.
all timelines and dimensions in the infinite Sonic cosmology.
Yes.
Twice. Or foes who could create infinite dimensions. Heck, Blaze was able to directly defeat guys who could create dimensions transcending dimensions. Twice.
Even though he needed some help.
Yeah, okay, so D3's higher cosmology than Sonic Universe, even with the recent buff from... Okay, so people... It's basically even with the Sonic buff. So basically what people don't understand, the next Sonic game, the Sonic racing game, Crossworld, basically they're traveling through multiverses. And however, it's less irrelevant here because StarFire hasn't demonstrated powers or abilities. Okay, so I totally agree with this. Her powers are strong and all and able to withstand, but she it's not like Superman or Wonder Woman who can affect their universes and all, and make a big impact. For example, Crisis on Infinite Earths, where basically Barry Allen sacrificed himself, that affected the timeline. Or Flashpoint, better yet, where basically rebooted the universe. Stuff like that. Meanwhile, Sonic and Blaze and the super forms could match and fight those that can affect it. So I do agree with this. That actually is a good factor.
Claiming to be infinite compared to all of Sonic's adversaries, including Solaris and the Time Eater. Even if we don't take the end at its word, you know,
and good song, good song.
Burning Blaze still matches the tier of infinite multiverse versus Starfire's at best almost infinite multiverse.
Yes, okay. Barely enough, even at high scaling.
If the end wasn't just gassing itself up, then that would make a single Chaos Emerald superform, which again, a Soul Emerald superform matches at minimum more powerful than several infinities combined. And all of this?
Several infinities. So, yeah, basically the multipliers. That's actually a good point.
Combined. And all of this is just from the video games.
Yes.
They calculated her power using feats from
Archie Comics.
It would bump Blaze up in power, but it would actually be an overall downgrade. It didn't showcase anything on the level of Supersonic's reality warping feats, despite them technically being capable of the same thing.
True.
Archie Blaze's fire also requires oxygen, unlike Game Blaze, whose fire can burn underwater.
That's
she
true.
Also loses
a lot
to really weak enemies.
That said, the Jeweled Scepter got us.
Okay, that actually makes sense. And like I said, even Archie Comics was like affecting multiverses outside, like Spawn and Mega Man. Like that's a big factor. Iblis was stronger than Baseblade and definitely far stronger than its previous host, Elise. So yeah, sealing an entity in her soul. So with the Chaos Emeralds that's stronger than her is largely consent, especially since most that Starfire could do while Seal is limited. So that's a good factor there. Even in base form, Blaze was basically stronger since she really hold Infamous in her soul. So that's my opinion.
Power boost, as it actually protected her dimension from
yes, I mentioned this earlier.
Rewriting their infinite multiverses reality. So there's that, I guess.
Either way, it doesn't really matter. Blaze takes this one too.
So yeah, so basically Starfire, while more alright. While Starfire was the most, I do agree with this so far. While Starfire is basically has better evidence of experience and better skills, the power gap in abilities, power, and most important, and definitely speed. Power probably the biggest factor of this fight. Blaze was enough. Okay.
It doesn't really matter. Blaze takes this one too. Maybe we're totally off our rockers and underestimating Starfire's power. Yeah. Especially with the Blue Lantern rings.
Alright. Yes, I do like that. They're calling out fair criticism. That's true. Especially Green Lantern lean.
I'm very much on that side. But even then, it wouldn't change anything because she still can't outspeed Blaze or counter all of her win conditions.
Yes.
We were honestly expecting the result to be the other way around.
Agreed. I thought so too.
Considering Corey is Flame Princess Superman and Blaze is Flame Princess Sonic.
Almost.
Even the pros and cons. So, pros force Starfire into another dimension, ring time. So she had more ways to win. Either taking it outside the DC universe, ring time, basically turning her into a ring, I believe. Soul stealing, erase Starfire energy. So I did call that out. She could counter it, and then kill Starfire. And Starfire only wins was force Burning Blaze to run out, basically outlast her and kill her before she can recharge, and kill Blaze before she transforms. So those are really not good factors, but if she had speed, she definitely could pull it off. But like I said, even if she, I bet she would be immeasurable, which both of them would be in my opinion, it will still give, even if they're equal, Blaze could still pull it off in time because of her like powers and all, able to get enough time. And then, so yeah,
is on par with Sonic in their narrative. In pretty much every
literally an hour and a half,
StarFire isn't on par with
almost.
Superman. She says
Yep.
so herself. In fact, StarFire is openly admitted.
Even if we know our content behind statements of StarFire capabilities and while scaling change to her, like scaling to Superman and all, we also allow that to Blaze, which would put him out of versatile powers and leave. Okay, yeah, so still, like even if they max out, like giving them high scaling and all, the outcome and analyzing this would basically be the same. Blaze would still be faster, stronger, and still have the better abilities to outlast her.
Multiversal and/or godlike entities like Sinar, the Demiurge, and Darkseid are out of her league. And
yes, I agree with this.
Such as Superman or the Green Lantern.
Because Starfire cannot take them by themselves, while Superman can.
That's not to say she's weak. Far from it.
Yeah.
She's just a relatively small fish in a really, really big pond.
Starfire's feats place her.
Alright, so basically the outcome. Blaze was stronger at burning Blaze, constantly faster. Yep. Best had more wind conditions than Starfire, I agree, and had it a more useful, and basically versatile fire jet. So she could basically, her power, can play around with her abilities better. And yeah, I do agree the feats do get tedious, but at the end of the day, it does fair. So basically, and then time limit. So while Blaze does that, Starfire was stronger in base form and better training experience and counters and survives many temperature. So they did have the same faults and all, but at the end, the power scaling, even if you take out the power and speed, and just say they're evenly matched because of the DC and all, I think that Starfire just cannot match Blaze's abilities overall. Her abilities and better experience in fighting speedy characters like Sonic and powerful characters would be enough. Yeah, barely helps. Yeah.
But not enough to significantly overpower her or scale that high in the DC hierarchy. Has Star fought characters on that level? Absolutely.
Yep.
Does she scale high enough and reliably enough to make a difference against Blaze and overcome her abilities? Almost, but no.
In the end, Blaze's multiple
both universes have unclear canons. Yes, that require a lot of interruption and judgments about what's fair to include or observe. Overall, we couldn't find anything that's reliable that put Starfire above Blaze's level. I do agree with this. At the end, the outcome is obvious, and again, the comics prove it in her fights by her. Again, they state this by herself. She can't scale to that power alone. Well, Blaze by herself, especially in her Sonic Rush games, can back her up.
And more reliable power set edged out Starfire's formidable physiology and breadth of experience.
Some stars fade, but at least Corey went out in a blaze of glory.
Good pun. Good pun. Alright, next time. What is the next fight? If we get one. Kingdom Hearts? Oh no, this is the extended scene. Okay, they got the.
It is all right.
Yes. Okay, I take away my complaint of having 2006 Starfire. I take it so bad. I'll say my opinion, but I love this right away. God.
What?
That's funny.
Yeah, I'll go said.
You fell out of that rift in dimensions. Whoever your opponent was,
Oh, Sunman
did not survive.
animated this? That's good.
See. The soul emeralds are missing again. I must find them immediately.
Oh, would you like the help?
I don't need...
Okay, I like this.
Actually, yes. I would be thankful for your aid.
Wonderful! I truly hope we can be the best of friends.
How do I always attract these types?
This was a 9 out of 10, but just that scene alone, 10 out of 10. Extended C was worth it. I'll leave it there for the animators and all, as I want to get to the point, but so far, this is towards... Okay, I'll actually share my thoughts later, in a second, because I have a lot of words to say. And this is just my opinion and all, but I cannot wait for the second episode. Whatever it is, even if it's something I don't like, I am down with it. So, I will say my thoughts. Ooh, special thanks. Okay, yes, I love that. That's a special love. I hope Ben Seeger, the OG Death Battle people themselves, actually see this fight. This is a good one. I would love to see this as an official. Alright, next time. Maybe a sneak peek of animation? So, Riku, Kingdom Hearts? Oh, is this Luke versus Saber? Nope, Kingdom Hearts. Okay, I called it. Oh, Zelda. Okay. Okay, I'm down for that. That's actually a good fight. I totally makes sense for Breath of the Wild. I'm down for it. I definitely think Undertale will win, but I'm down for it. So, to Firery Joker himself, I will say, for a pilot episode, this is definitely a banger, a masterpiece. And I'll say this, if you wanted to go in Death Battle, I would say add this to your resume, because this was awesome. Especially the animators and all who made it. Man, this was this makes me wish if I had more money at the time, to donate for the fundraiser, because this was a masterpiece in my opinion. And this is just the first episode. This was a 40-minute episode. I'm over half of that if you look of the time. That's how much enjoyment I had. This was you know what? I'm just going to leave the dog barking. But this was a masterpiece in my opinion. The editing was good. Was great. It felt the graphics amazing, the voice acting amazing. You got Brandon Yates and doing the song and all, and especially the special guests, they did great, and the voice actor did great. I think the star of it overall was the editing and the graphics. It felt like a Death Battle episode, and for something that is not, this is probably the best one I've seen. Triple A, I will say, if it's a series of its own, it definitely got promise. And I hope for more. I actually would love to see future opinions and all. Maybe do a fan vote. I would definitely go down if you actually go to the Death Battle cast as a special guest and actually go down with this. It is good. I would even say make this episode canon Death Battle. But by a series itself, it was amazing. It was good. It was I can't believe I need to put a like on that. If there was a heart that could replace it, that's the best summary. So, well, like I said, can't do nothing about the dog. I am not even pausing this to take care of the dog. That's how much love I did with this. And I'm just going to end it there. Thank you so much for watching. I'll probably post something on Twitter. Go to Spencer sponsors and all. And I can't wait to see the next episode, even though it's not my thing. But I'll definitely watch it because that's how much effort you put in it. And I cannot wait to see if you get more episodes in the future. I hope you do. And like I said, that's enough. Like, especially, like, this was just great overall. Worth the money, worth the fan project, and worth the wait. Cannot wait to see see more in the future. So thank you so much. I hope you enjoy this. I hope this gets more love. And see you next time. Stay awesome. And Firery Joker, stay fiery.